Hello and welcome to the Real Estate Regroup Show. I am your host, LJ Walker, a real estate investor helping you realize your dreams of owning a home or investing in one. So you asked for it, and to be honest, I wanted to follow up on this as well. We last spoke about Wendy Williams. As many of you know, I am a fan. I didn't necessarily want to be a DJ or a television host. I just really liked how she carried herself, the fact that she spoke well and still partied at the same time. That's what I admired. That's what I liked about her, right? So it was really disheartening to see this show that was placed on Lifetime. I just finished watching part 2 of the show. Before, when I did the first video, I only watched part 1. Now, there are new developments that have come out. Number 1, her manager Will and Sean, the publicist, they have both been fired. You know, honestly, with Will, my issue with him is, how is it that a person who is a jeweler all of a sudden becomes an entertainment manager? Normally, you hire people who have experience and have some accomplishments under their belt. I really didn't hear, and I really haven't seen anything anywhere regarding that. And to me, it is very suspect when someone jumps from being in one field and then come over to another field that's so far stretched from what they're already doing. Okay? But what I did like about Will, I will give him kudos. I will give him credit for the fact that on several occasions, well, maybe 1 or 2 occasions, when they went to the restaurant, I remember him saying to the waiter, "No alcohol." So I did like that part of it, part of him. Now, the other person was the publicist. She was definitely quite enabling, mentioning that Wendy knows when to stop. She was definitely someone that I had a hard time with. Because, see, at first, when she first appeared, I had some empathy for her. I was thinking to myself, well, she's afraid to stand up to Wendy because she knows that if she does, she might lose her job. And she probably really needs this job, and she probably was hoping that the show would boost her credibility. But in fact, the opposite occurred, especially when she took Wendy out to Los Angeles to be interviewed, and she was allowing the alcohol to flow. And not only that, she took her out there and didn't tell anybody. That's a big no-no. So I'm glad, honestly, that they are out of her life for now, or at least they're not working with her for now. And I've heard that she's currently in a facility being rehabilitated, which I think is wonderful. I think that's something that she needs. Okay. Now, the other thing that had bothered me is that before this show came out, and when I took it upon myself to find out, okay, well, what's going on with Wendy? How come she's not back? Where's her show? And I heard that the financial advisor that was fired was now the one that's going to be her guardian. That really didn't sit well with me at all. My intention after I made that particular video was, the last one, was to go back and do some research on who she was and also who the judge was. Because I said to myself, I wonder if there is some sort of relation, right? Well, I couldn't find anything about them being related, maybe far from removed, but what I did find out was that, and I'm pretty sure many of you have seen this, the financial advisor was being sued by another client for guardianship. I also found that the judge was known, the one that presided over Wendy's case, the one that assigned the guardian, she was caught accepting campaign money, and then she would turn around and she would grant those guardian companies that gave her money to her campaign, she would grant them guardianship to various individuals that came into her courtroom, various cases that came into her courtroom. I was like, wow, this is something else. This is really something else. And there was an additional lawyer that within that other case that, yes, had Wendy's guardian, but also had another, I believe, another guardian that worked with her, where that lawyer presided over the case, won the money for the gentleman. He had to take half his money and pay that lawyer, and then that same lawyer was made guardian over his estate. But guess what, guys? It's all legal. It's all legal. It's shady, but it's legal. Now, the stealing money part, though, that the guardian is being accused of, that part is not legal. That part is definitely illegal. Okay? But therein lies the loophole that some lawyers are using in order to make a little bit more money. Am I shocked? Not really. Con artists are in every profession. They're not just entrepreneurs. Like I said, sometimes they work next to you on your job. So no, I'm not surprised that people who are in the legal profession would also can also be found of being con artists or just shady characters. And unfortunately, no, I did not write about this particular instance, but I have had the unfortunate experience of dealing with an attorney that was shady as hell. He charged me for things that I had already done. He was supposed to get a title report done for me. He didn't. I did, and he wanted to charge me for that. He was supposed to record my mortgage. He didn't, and then wanted to charge me for that. Did I pay? No, I didn't. And I won't. So there you have it. You do have to watch out for these attorneys as well. Unfortunately, all of them are not honest. Yes, they're supposed to take an oath, but it doesn't mean anything to some unscrupulous people. That's life. That's the way it is. And the other reason why I am really happy that this particular show happened, because a lot of people were like, oh no, this is exploitative. No, it's explosive. Not exploitative, it's explosive. And I think that most of you who say that it's exploitive, you probably didn't watch it. Because if you watch both parts 1 and part 2, you would see how and why it's not. Basically, Wendy and her family want to expose what's going on because most of us, honestly, we didn't know anything about guardianship. Many of us, we think we're going to live forever and we don't even have an estate plan, a will, a trust, or nothing set up. We don't have anything set up. We think that, oh, it's not important till we get real old and then we die. And that's it. We don't think that, okay, we could get so sick that we can't take care of ourselves and need to rely on other people. We don't think that way, right? But this is forcing us to think this way. And think about this also. Wendy had said a while back, and I think I did mention this in the other video too, that her guardian was stealing her money. And it pretty much flew over a lot of people's heads. People were saying, oh, well, you know, something's wrong with her. Some people were thinking, oh, well, it's the alcohol or the drugs that were kicking in. No, she's probably telling the truth. You know, I say probably, and I say alleged only because all of the facts have not rolled in. And because we live in a society where people like to sue, and in case things are different, I'm going to say alleged, all right? But anyway, as mentioned before, a lot of times when people say things, we say, oh, you know, it's his side, her side, and the truth. And then in Wendy's case, because of the alcohol addiction, previous drug addiction, and then all the different diseases and discomforts that she's going through, we think that it's something else. But by her and her family giving us video, giving us pictures, the videos and the pictures tell you more. They always say pictures are worth what? 1,000 words. So if a picture is worth 1,000 words, and we just had 2 nights of this particular show, which is on video, I would say we got at least 1,000,000 words. We got words that the family and Wendy probably would have never told us, but by just observing, we're like, okay, no, this is wrong, 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 this is wrong. We see a whole lot. And it hits you because it's appealing to your emotions. You understand? Not just to your head, but to your heart. Especially if you're a fan. Okay? Now, another thing that people keep saying, that I keep seeing, is that people were wondering, well, why is it that Wendy's sister, Wanda, wasn't made guardian? I looked in her financial background, and I can see why she was not made guardian. And this was separate from what Wendy's ex-husband had said about her and about the situation where they were going to make her a guardian. They were going to allow her to take classes. And then, you know, as she say, oh, the wall was put up, right? And then Kevin, he says, the ex-husband says that she was naive and she got played. That might be true. I don't have enough information on that. It's not necessarily clear. But I have a feeling that the people who had promised Wendy's sister that they were going to make her guardian and help her to be a guardian, again, they were probably, you know, played nice in her face, and she believed it. But once they did that background, they probably said, no, you know what, she might not necessarily be the best one. Okay? The brother is definitely not the best one. He does not qualify, no shape, form, or fashion to be a guardian. That it would have to be the niece as far as financial is concerned. They could also train the son, honestly. But to a certain extent, even though they said the son, the way he was spending the money, they blamed that as far as why they wouldn't consider him to be the guardian. But I really think, in all fairness, I do believe that the judge was paid off, and she looked at who paid her, and that's how the guardian was assigned. I really do. But I want to get back to the family. And I also want to get back to being a guardian. First of all, guardianship is not the only answer. When it comes to estate planning, there is more than one option. But the earlier you do it, the better. You don't want to wait until you have dementia or Alzheimer's in order to do an estate plan, because it can definitely be argued in court. You want to do this ahead of time. Okay? So, and if you are going to do your estate plan, they normally say to you that guardianship should be the last option, not your first option. Another thing that I saw that was being done here, and I wanted to relay it back to what they spoke to us at the caucus about, is this. You know, a lot of times families want to say, oh, the oldest one should do this. Or they'll look at the oldest boy child and say, oh, he's the man, so we're going to let him be the one that's responsible. That's not always the best case. When you look at your family, don't just look at who's the oldest and who's the male. Okay? You want to look at their education and their behavior. How do they manage money? How do they invest money? And how do they spend money? You know, then you know, when it comes to health, again, how do they manage their health? Do they invest their time in health? You know, you want to look at those things. When you, at the caucus, the lady said, looking at your family, you got to know who's the CEO, who's the CFO, who's the CIO, and who's the C-no-no. Because there are some people in your family that should not have a seat at the executives table. They are good supporting employees or some supporting actors, you know, but they are not the main characters. They should not have the seat at the same table. They need a separate table altogether. Okay, so that was another thing that I see going on that I feel like, okay, yes, that needs to be corrected. And then the last thing that I saw that kind of bothered me a little bit, but not too much because I understand that people don't know, and that is the laws need to be changed, particularly when it comes to guardianship. Because of that loophole, you have lawyers and judges that are abusing the system. Okay? The next thing is, because this judge was appointed through campaigning, right? And I know that sometimes when we go into the voting booths, a lot of times when you flip that card over, they list judges. We don't always know which judge is which and what they're campaigning for. Guess what? I pop out my phone and I go to Google and I get to searching to find out, okay, who is this person? What are they about? I don't just go in and go out. I take my vote very seriously. And more of us, especially if you are a minority, you need to take your vote a little bit more seriously. Don't just say, oh, I don't know these people, so I'm not going to vote. No, stay there and go to Google. Google these people and find out what they're about. Okay? Find out what they are about. And then more of us also need to go vote, because some of us don't even vote, period. Don't even, some of us don't even vote for president, mayor, governor, nothing. Like I know people like that, which is not good. Then you have those of you who only go for the president, then only for the mayor. Then no, you have to go to every single election. I know it can be a pain. Sometimes you may not want to. It's a hassle because you have to go to work. And that's another thing. They really shouldn't let us work on the same day that we have to go vote. That's another problem right there. But yes, we need to have these laws change. We have to vote. We have to start by voting the right people into office. That's number one. Number two, we have to get into our elected officials' faces, and we have to say to them, listen, I see what happened to Wendy Williams. I don't want it to happen to me. I would like for the law regarding guardianship to be changed. And like I mentioned before also, if maybe you're too afraid, some of you might be shy. I have to give it, you might feel intimidated walking to a politician, but you have to remember that politician works for you. You do not work for the politician. And because some of you are intimidated, that's one of the reasons why they do take advantage of us, truth be told. But in addition to that, in case you live, I guess, in a rural area and you're not able to speak with your local politician, even though they do have email and they do have phone numbers, many do, there are local advocates, local groups, such as AARP. That's one big group. Then you do have local groups for Alzheimer's and dementia that you can join. Or if you don't want to join, whenever they have a petition or whenever they're having a rally, whatever it is they're doing, find out. See if you have that time available and make that time. Make that time. If they have a petition, make that time to sign it. Do whatever it is that you can do so that we all can see a change, and so that what has happened to Wendy doesn't happen to anyone else. And please also note that what's going on with Wendy, she's not the only one. This is not the first time that this has happened. When I did my research and then I noticed more, and I'm thankful that other YouTubers are doing their research too, we have found that this has happened to millions and millions of people. And most of those people, unfortunately, yes, I'm seeing that most of those people are minorities. It doesn't matter how much money they make. Most of those people are minorities. And most of the white people that are affected, because this does happen to white people too, right? Most of the times what happens is the parent is a child, right? So let's say, like in one particular instance, I forgot the family's name, but the daughter was 13 years old and her father was diagnosed with schizophrenia. So a guardian was appointed, and they were okay with that for a while. But when the daughter became 25, she wanted to see her father, and they wouldn't let her. You know, it's one thing to say, okay, I'm going to be a guardian for the rest of this person's life, but it's another thing when you prevent their family from contacting them. That is a bit rough. The only way I can see where it's okay is if, let's say, maybe the family is a bad influence on them. Otherwise, no. There's no excuse for that. There's no excuse for that. So, anyway, that's my 2 cents. That's my follow-up. That's my finding for now. I can't promise that I'm gonna, continuously be updating you guys on this particular situation. If something, comes up that's related to the main topic and the main theme of real estate and money, then yes, I'll revisit it. But as for right now, that's all I have. So guys, please feel free to share this amongst your friends. Remember, each one reach one, teach one. Bye for now. Until next time. Have a good night.